G'day guys and girls, welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to talk about track days. So I had a track day booked on the 1st of April until, it got postponed. So there are some things that you've got to consider about track days. It's not necessarily as easy as booking it, just rocking up and giving your car a good hammer around the track. There's lots of things to consider, so let's have a look at what they are. So you've just booked your track day. You're going to get a confirmation email. No doubt you've booked it online. Make sure you read your email. There's heaps of information in there that's going to be really helpful to you on the day, and even leading up to it. So things it's going to tell you is like what time you need to get there, where you need to go to sign on, what time sign on is, what time your driver's briefing is and where it is, what to wear, if there's a standard for your helmet. I know in Australia there's a standard. I think it's like AS1698 as of right now. But you need to know all that stuff before you go down there, because if you go down there with the wrong helmet, you'll probably have to hire one. If you go down there and you're not wearing the right clothing, they might not let you on track. If you get there late, you probably miss out on track time if they let you on. So make sure you read that email, that's really important. And then we'll go through some other stuff now of what you might need to do leading up to the day. Alright, so before your track day, it'd be a little bit irresponsible just to not check anything on your car and just rock up and give it a thrash and hope everything's going to go okay. A couple of things you might want to consider is your oil. How old's your oil? How do you drive? Like, does your oil get hot often? Because the last thing you want is to have old oil in your engine, and you're hanging out over 5,000 RPM for most of the day. So you might want to consider an oil and filter change as a minimum. The other important stuff is make sure you've got enough coolant, and make sure that your coolant's good. Make sure your brake fluid is good. Can't stress that one enough. There's nothing worse than going down a hill into a turn. This has happened to me before, and your brake fluid starts to boil. And I had decent fluid in, it was just older than I anticipated. Make sure you've got good fluid. Make sure it's rated for temperatures above 600 degrees, I suppose. RBF 600 is what I use. That's a really important one. Make sure you've got good brake fluid. You need to stop. And check your tyres as well, because they're the things keeping you on the road and on the track. Just make sure that you've got enough tread. You're not going to use a whole set in a track session. It's not like super softs in an F1 race. But you still need a decent amount of tread because you want that grip. Always get the best tyres that you can afford as well. So although it's not that important on a public track day to have the best tyres, it's going to improve your driving experience on the day more than anything. It's not really going to improve lap times, because that's not really why you go, but check your tyres. Alright, so you wake up on the day, all you want to do is get there and drive and have some fun on track. A couple of things to consider before you're leaving the house. Just double check things. Make sure that your helmet meets any requirements that the track has. Make sure that you're wearing the right clothing. So all the track days I've done, you're required to wear like a long sleeve shirt and long pants and enclosed shoes as well. Otherwise they just won't let you on track. Go and double check your car. Make sure that your tyres are good. Make sure that your pressures are at a normal pressure. Make sure that your fluids are good, and that you've changed them where need be. Just make sure that your car's in some sort of condition for a track day. Have something to eat. Get there early. Have a wander around. Learn where everything is. For example, where you need to sign on, where you need to go for your briefing, and just have a look around at some other cars and have a chat to some people. When you do need to sign in, you may as well do it early, because they might give you a bit more information that you need to read through. One of the most important things on the day, listen in the briefing. So many people get out there on track and they're just doing things that they were told not to do in the briefing. So just make sure that you listen. You're not there to win any titles. You're not there to set a fastest lap. You're there to have fun on track with everyone else and do it as safely as possible. So when you get people that don't move over, they want to dive down the inside because they think they're in a faster car than you, and they may very well be. All that stupid shit. You don't need to do it. Listen in the briefing. Alright, so this is it. Now you're on track. This is what you've paid for, and this is what you're looking forward to all this time. First couple of laps, especially in session 1, take it really easy. That's probably the best advice anyone can give you, and I'm no professional. I'm a beginner myself, so just take it easy. You don't need to floor it. You don't need to hammer it into turn 1 or 2 or whatever. Gradually get quicker and quicker. You need your brake temps to come up. You need your tyre pressure and temps to settle and come up. The last thing you want to do is hammer into turn 2 or 3, realise that you don't have the brake temperature to brake for as hard as you want to brake, and you just lock up or go straight, or you have an off. So take it easy for a little while, at least a lap or 2. In your briefing, they're going to talk about flags. So generally, like, your yellow flag will be, someone's had an incident somewhere. Could be just a section, or it could be a whole track, and you basically just need to slow down and don't overtake anyone. For that, a blue flag generally means you or someone else is going slow, and they need to let other people past. A white flag. So at Sydney Motorsport Park, I know that they have a white flag halfway through the session, and that's literally all it means, is about halfway through your session. A red flag means end of session, and to do your cool down lap and come into the pits. And there's a couple of other flags as well that they'll go through on the day. Learn what they mean and know what you have to do if you see one of them flags, because there's nothing worse than someone not slowing down on under a yellow and flying around everyone. And this one I've got exclamation points after. Check your mirrors. So there's a good chance that you're not the fastest car and driver on track that day. Someone will likely be coming up behind you, and don't be that person that holds someone up and ruins their day. It doesn't take much out of your session just to hang right and ease off the throttle for 10 seconds. Let someone faster past, and then you can get back into it and enjoy your day. If they're faster, they're going to pull away from you anyway, so they're not going to hold you up. As well as that, like, if you are a faster car, just sort of stay a bit clear of the other cars. So you're going to catch up to people. You have to have a bit of trust that they are going to check their mirrors and see the blue flags. So you don't need to get right up their arse and slipstream them. You don't have to dive bomb into corners to get around people. That's not what the days are about. But I know it can be frustrating when people don't move out of your way. I have had that happen to me a few times. But, end of the day, everyone sort of gets caught up in the adrenaline of the day. You're focusing on the road ahead and like around corners and picking your points and stuff like that. But that's where checking your mirrors comes into it. And hopefully the other drivers are checking their mirrors. I did put a track day up from quite a few years ago in my old Skyline, and an old Porsche 911 Turbo spun in front of me at turn 2 at Sydney Motorsport Park, and I was probably a bit too close for that. I think that was only my first or second track day. I was probably a little bit too close for that, but I obviously managed to get around it. You never know how hard the driver in front of you is pushing. You don't know the condition of their car. You don't know what tyres are like, and it is a racetrack, anything can happen. It does feel slow on track, so they might be pushing harder than what they think they are. So just give everyone a little bit of space. You don't have to like almost sideswipe people to get around them and whatnot. But other than that, you're there to have fun. Everyone's paid their money. You've still got to do it somewhat safely. So if you think I've left anything out, if there's anything else that you do as a part of your track day prep, if there's anything else that you think I should have added as to what to take into consideration for track days, whether it be before, during, or even after, put it in the comments below, because I'm keen to hear it, and it'll just be knowledge shared with everyone that reads them. So, all right, cheers for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.